The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily representative of the Coalition or any other entity. This content is intended for mature audiences only.
Throwdown. What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 125. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Rest in peace.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Adam Vale.
What's up?
And the returning one, Mr. Brett Murdock.
Down but not out, guys.
That's what's up. We don't know where Brian is, which is kind of disappointing because he was supposed to take us to school tonight concerning the whole PS Now thing, but he's not here, so sorry, Brian. Hope you're getting pussy or something to miss out on this shit. So Brett, quickly, man, you want to give a status to people? Like, I gave them a little bit of what's going on. Like, your medication got changed and you got all fucked up. Like, you want to let them know what's happening?
Okay, long story short, it's been a waking nightmare. That was one of the most worst experience of my life. A doctor switched up some meds. I had a bad reaction, a total of 3 ER visits, few days in the hospital. It gets kind of blurry. Hygeal hernia, like my stomach got all fucked up. It shoved itself up into its esophagus. Now I've got a possibly infection from the IV. Like, and this last 9 days or so have just whooped the ever-loving fuck out of me. But I think they got me where I need to be. But it was a real adverse reaction. I keep telling people it's like the scene from Ghostbusters where Dana's possessed and like hovering above the bed, just thrashing around, kind of like barking. Like I was in the ER a few times for that. So
damn. But like you said, you're here now and you're ready, man.
Yeah. So Bill Murray didn't show up with a bunch of Percocet, right?
That would have been great, but no, unfortunately not.
Oh man, we had a little discussion about that the other day. It's like, that's kind of blatantly like not just sexist, but like rapist. If you think about it,
nobody
is a little rapey.
Yeah, very.
Nobody ever said that Peter Venkman was a good person.
Yeah,
that's also the other thing. Yeah, he was kind of a sleazeball. Like and I think that was intentional in the movie. Yeah. Like they showed on multiple occasions that he's just kind of a sleazy guy.
Yeah, the first second of the film, the first minutes of the film, you see what kind of person he is with the psychic kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. A couple of things here before we start. I want to give a shout out to my man Shinatsky. He came up with our new channel trailer. He did the previous one, and I wanted him to do a more updated one. I redid the vocals and stuff. He added newer games, and what we're gonna do now is every 6 months we're gonna update that trailer and stuff, so just reflect whatever the current games are. Luckily, we had a lot of new games, so it's pretty easy to come up with that. But I do want to say, I originally wanted to have some Nintendo games on there, but what would happen if we did that? So no Nintendo footage at all, not even like a little thing of a Switch, none of that, because I don't want to get in trouble. How Nintendo does, motherfuckers. Yeah. I also want to give
what's funny about that intro though is that we actually did mean it to be updated pretty regularly, but it just hasn't. We just kind of been busy and just haven't been able to put it together though.
Yeah. So finally did that, but we won't have to worry about that for a while now. I also want to give a shout out to a couple of dudes here. Supersonic Wolf, Jay Barry, and J Dub, and my man Fox. We were on the Greatness podcast. I was over the weekend, I believe. Crazy ass show, man. We had a lot of fun on that one. Okay, Supersonic Wolf, you guys may know him as Iron Wolf. He's very interesting to me because he used to be a hardcore Xbox guy, but I guess he just got unhappy with everything that was going on and he switched over to PlayStation. Now he's a big PlayStation guy. Very interesting. I want to get him on the show one day. Very interesting type of dude, and I also want to give a shout out to the co-op. Me and Carlos were on there in the last episode talking about a bunch of other shit. Carlos, I'll be honest with you, I completely forgot what the fuck we were talking about that episode, but it was good. All I know is I had fun. I think we're talking about Switch or something,
Yeah, Switch 2017 is the best year of this generation. A couple other things.
Yeah, it was just like 4 of us. It was me, Carlos, fucking Gary, and Richard. You know, good shit. You know, the other guys that were still at PAX and stuff. And I believe they did. You know, those guys did like a PAX follow-up podcast. So definitely make sure to check that out. You know. And I kind of fucked up a little bit, by the way. We're going to do our contest today, but I don't have the book with me right now. But we're going to give a fucking contest. We're going to have
Yo, man, where that book?
Yeah, but, you know, man, just like you, I was doing a bunch of shit tonight, and I'll bring it out before the show's over. Don't worry about it. So we're going to give away a copy of Super Mario, How Nintendo Conquered America. So what we're going to do is just like last time, we're going to have a picture for, you know, the guys watching, and then like an audio clip, you know, for the guys listening, and, you know, we'll figure that out there. You know, hopefully, I told Adam, get the most obscure fucking game you can, you know, like that was the only principle here. So we want to challenge you guys. So it'll
you guys are never gonna figure it out.
They're not, you know, we may have to make it easier on them and shit, just like we had to last time.
Now
I know we should be like, man, you ain't getting shit now.
I mean, there's some stipulations with this one. I'll give credit. I mean, you got to give credit if they can get at least one of the answers right regarding when this came out. Remember, like I said, there's some history with this.
You know what, Adam? Because you know how we do on Throwdown, man. Everything's on the fly. Come up with 3 questions if you can. You know, if you can't get the picture, you can at least have this other option. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll do that because this is hard. This is a hard one. Even I was like, what the fuck is this shit? It's awesome, man. All right, so we're gonna get into our lead topic here. Okay, so Sony announced that it would be having PlayStation 4 games on PlayStation Now, right? PlayStation Now being the streaming service and all that. Right now, it only has PS3 games, but it's going to have PS4 games. And as you could imagine, they're sending up roller across fucking Twitter, Facebook, comment sections, craziness, you know? But before we get into the madness, I want to just talk about what we think about this announcement. You know, I'm just gonna flat out say if you listen to Throwdown on a normal, regular basis, you know how we pretty much all collectively feel about PlayStation Now. Mm-hmm. You don't think it's a good service, you know. As a matter of fact, Manny, you've said many times that should be part of PlayStation Plus to begin with. It shouldn't be like a separate thing, you know. So with that said, you know, I'll be honest, I don't really give a shit.
They need to redo the pricing. That's what they really need.
Yeah. Here's what they should have done, right? Because PlayStation Plus was originally $50, right? What they should have done is, because they raised the price to $60, add PlayStation Now to this shit. That's what they should have done, right? And if you don't want PlayStation Now, then you just pay $50, right? But they're not doing that, you know. But yeah, again, I don't really think it's the reason we're going to talk about this is because of the crazy reactions. A lot of misconceptions going on. But what do we think about the actual news itself? Me personally, as a person who doesn't care about PlayStation Now, don't really give a fuck.
I think the people that are going to care are the people that don't have a PS4. You know, like I have a lot of PC buddies that are on Steam, and they're like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to be able to play Uncharted or Bloodborne." You know, so they're looking forward to that if those games are available, which I think they will because they've been a while. It's been a while since those games were released, so.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what they're looking forward to. And then I'm sure all the people that are on Xbox are like, I don't want to get a PS4, and they keep hearing all this shit about some of these exclusives. Like, you know what? Why not? I'll give it a go. I mean, it's still streaming. That's the downfall.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's always the principal thing here. It's a streaming service. No, you could have the illest fucking connection on earth. There's still input lag. Even if you don't notice it, it's still there. I know there's some guys like, hey, if you don't notice it, what does it matter? It matters, especially if you're playing like a competitive game. It's gonna fuck you up, you know.
It goes beyond that. Come on, like,
go ahead, Brett.
Everybody has had that moment where they're watching Hulu or Netflix and everything gets real grainy for a second because it hasn't buffered or connection speed had dropped, and it's not the end of the world, but that is a very clear indication that your broadband speeds are going to jump up and down depending on who's using them and what time of day and things like that. Sometimes my Netflix is amazing quality. Sometimes it gets a little fuzzy. If I'm doing a lot of stuff. So,
Brett, what about the little circle when it has to buffer and shit and load, you know?
I thankfully don't get that. Like, my internet is better than that here. In the old place, it was, I got that kind of shit all the time. The internet was fucking terrible, but at least here I'll get it. But even having good internet, like, I generally run about 150 megs. Netflix still fucking buffers. Hulu still fucking buffers. There's still those moments where it really temporarily kind of drops out. So if you can't do that with a streaming video, it's going to be really hard to do that with a streaming game. I mean, the problems are going to be exponentially more noticeable.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing, though. I don't like. Okay, let's say if you're a PC guy, right? Are you really going to be happy with this? Like, okay, because it's not native on your shit. It's still streaming, And okay, I don't know if they're going to change it for PlayStation 4 games, but right now it's 720p, 30 frames a second, right? Yeah, you could play the games, but they're not running at like higher frames or anything like that.
I don't think people are gonna run out and buy a PC for it. It's just like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go.
You don't even need an LPC for it.
No, you don't.
You really don't. You can have the shittiest PC because remember this thing up until August of this year, because it's on fucking TVs, it's on Blu-rays, it's on Vita, PS3. It's not gonna be on any of that anymore come August. But you could play all these things on your Vita. You don't need horsepower for it, So I guess I want to ask you guys, who is this really for then? Is it just people who just want to try the games? Like who's this really for?
I mean, it's definitely not for the fans of the games because they already have it, and it's got to be for people that just want to have that experience, just to say they played it, without having to invest the money of actually buying the game, buying a console that supports the game, if they have a PC.
See, I almost think it's them trying to set up something for the future. I don't mean that in a good way there, because I'll remind everybody PlayStation Home was supposed to be this thing that was supposed to grow into this other big thing. But I think they're trying to put the infrastructure in place for digital and streaming distribution because they want to make sure that if that's the way that the future of gaming goes, that they have that ability. I don't necessarily. It doesn't seem to me like they're trying to have this be a successful product right now, even. It just seems to be that they're trying to hold and perfect the technology more and not take a huge loss while doing it. Maybe that's just my perception.
No, well, the reason why PS Now is a thing is because in an ideal world, they would want this to be a permanent service. In an ideal world for Sony, everyone has PS Now because think about it. It's a premium service. They charge more for games. Like if they could just
release Plus, that's it. Then everybody will have it.
Yeah. So why release? Why buy Gaikai and all that stuff? And why do this service? And why keep it up and running while we know that this service hasn't really lit the world on fire, and they're still continuing. They're still supporting it. They're trying to make this a viable platform for people to play their games. They want everyone to buy into this service, and their last hope, their final push is to put PS4 games in it. So that's, if they can intrigue people in that, then they'll see if they can catch on,
Yeah, that's what Adam said. And I agree with him. And yeah, this does seem, I'm not going to say it's exactly this, but it does seem like a little bit of a desperation move. No one's really bought onto this thing. Some people do. I know they like it, but most people, this thing's available on PC now. Did a lot of PC guys adopt this shit? I didn't see that happening.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard and I saw some people on the forum saying that some of the games you could actually buy now from there. So you'll have an option to rent for a day, a week, whatever, and then they even have a buy now. And I was like, I don't see how that can work unless it's one of those PS3 crossover games like what was the Telltale's one, Wolf Among Us or something like that. That's already available on PS4. So it's not so much that you're downloading that copy, but it'll probably take you to a version that's already for the PS4. But maybe if they had that option, sort of like how the Xbox is doing it, where it's like, all right, you have this, you're renting it, or even let's say in PS, you're streaming it through that service, and then you know what, I want this, I want to keep. All right, well, you can buy it, but the problem is they don't have any of that emulation because that's how it's going to work. They're not going to just copy it over. They're going to have to create their own little, the way the 360 games work on Xbox One, where it's just like a little compact emulator. It's contained like a MKV file,
right? You're talking about for PC?
No, I'm talking about for the console, just on PS4 right now.
Well, right now, because I was assuming it's going to work the way it does for PS3. PS3, what they basically did is they kind of, Manny explained it, they networked a bunch of PlayStation 3s together. I was assuming they're going to do the same thing with PlayStation 4s.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're going to have to come up with something better than this, though. I mean, yeah, fine, you added some games, but a better plan, like we talked about before, maybe include some of these games into Plus so that way it can entice some people to even jump in on it, because all it takes is just a little sprinkle here and there, and then people, once they're in that realm, in that window, can then search and be like, oh, what's that what's this? What's that? You know, you got to entice people to come in. Just like stores give out some free candy, you know, or a free donut, you know, to come in on a certain day. They have a menu with other shit, you know. So you got to give something to get something. And
yeah, but I'm glad you said it, because that's why I think Xbox Game Pass is better than this shit. Because not only because you could download the game, right? Download it, play natively on your shit, and if you like the game, you could buy it at a discount. PlayStation Now doesn't.
And on that, because I saw some people bitching, was like, "Oh, it's not a big deal streaming." You know what? Say that now, but then when you have multiple people in your house, and then you know, like Brett was talking about with Netflix and stuff. What if there's other people in the house streaming shit at that time?
Yeah,
and you're trying to stream a damn game over, and let's say it's I don't know, it's a certain game like Uncharted, for example, and you're in a big shootout scene like that shipyard, and you know you got your mom and your sister all trying to watch different things, and you're seeing that choppiness. It's done. That shit's not happening.
And that's the single player. Yeah, that's a single player. What if you're playing online?
Oh, that's not happening either.
Dude,
is the online even available on PlayStation?
That's a good question. Don't know.
That is a good question. I don't know. But Brett, what were you gonna say?
I was about to say, think about school, dude. Like, I'm not sure if any of you have noticed, like, if you're at home trying to do stuff right around 3:00, 3:30, when everybody gets out of school, your internet fucking shits the bed.
Yeah. Everybody's home.
Shit. Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, it's a network. It's like a line of information going to your house, to your neighbor's house, to your neighbor's house, right? So when people are getting from the juice from the same pole, you know, like fucking you have attenuation, stuff like that.
Well, and I remember being 16. I remember getting out of high school. I remember what the fuck I did when I got home from school. I played video games. So you're talking about when peak hours, you know, your service is probably going to lose quality, you know, when the most people are doing it, which is the ironic part. It's not like it's going to slow down at 2 a.m. when not that many people are doing it. It's when if this thing succeeds and if everybody wanted to do it, it has inherent natural limitations.
Yeah, no matter what you do, like I say, you have the best connection out there. It's still gonna have those problems, you know, the shitty looking graphics and the lag and stuff. Now, I want to get to some of the misconceptions that are going around here. People are already assuming every PlayStation 4 game, every PlayStation 4 exclusive game is gonna be on this day one. No.
Nope.
No,
why would they do that? That's stupid.
Sony would not be stupid enough to do shit like that. So you're telling me once this thing rolls out, it's gonna have Horizon and Uncharted 4? No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. And then
it may never get to worse. The new Gears is not going to be on that service right away
on Xbox Game Pass, right?
Yeah. No, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, it's so that's one of the things that is going around, which is stupid. You guys want to expand on that or a little bit, or just dismiss it as stupidity?
Well, you could dismiss it, but you could go like, I can't get Uncharted 4 for free on PS Plus. You think they're gonna put it on streaming? I can't even download it now, and I have PlayStation Plus.
Oh, you have to do it. You have to buy a PS4, and you'll get it for free. But like, yeah, like this is so like, so we're fucking taking the bait, you know? Like the whole PSN Now news comes out, and then all these fucking fanboys just like grabbed these news and ran with it and busted out the whole PS4 has no exclusives now.
Yeah, let's talk about that, which is hilarious.
So yeah, it's just a fucking, like, they can literally find any type of news and try to spin it some way to like talk shit about the fucking other console, you know?
And you know where that stems from, right? Because, and just to be fair, the PlayStation guys were giving Xbox guys shit like, oh, you guys don't have any more exclusives now because all your games are on PC, right? So this is the Xbox guys getting the revenge, right? Only thing is, it's not equal here, right? Games that are on Xbox and PC, they're running natively on both platforms, right? Games are not running natively on your fucking PC, and that's the other misconception. I can't believe I actually read this shit. These dudes are saying, oh, I don't need a PlayStation 4 now. I could play all of the PlayStation 4 games on my PC at 4K 60 frames a second. What?
No,
that is incorrect.
Yeah, like, and yeah, then the other stuff, that the whole meme that was going out. Remember that it's like PS4 Pro has Horizon and the Switch has Zelda and then Xbox has Netflix. Like that whole meme was going on. So that was pretty fucked up. Like, but yeah, like these games, they're not gonna. Like, I was debating with Tony about how putting all the games on PSN Now was going to be like would potentially make them more profitable.
Yeah.
But I still don't think they would do it. It's like
here's the thing. Okay, I guarantee you that Horizon and Uncharted and all these other games, Neo, Nier, they're all going to be on here, but not now.
5 years from now, 4 years.
At least a year for the newer ones.
Not even a year, Adam. I predict whenever any of these games, because it might be a case by case basis. I'm just trying to use logic here. Whenever the game stops selling, toss them on there. Right, get a little bit more interest, drum up some interest, then get people to maybe buy them. Right, like if people aren't buying Horizon anymore, all right, toss it on there. You know, shit like that. That's what I'm thinking. You're going to get these games on there, but it's not going to be like high quality or whatever. And it's the other thing I want to talk about, the PC guys, because the PC guys went hardcore. They're like, well, that's it. I don't need to buy a PlayStation 4, and I can just play all my games on PC. Really, at 720p, 30 frames a second. The same guys that tout that they play games at 60 frames, 1440p. You're telling me they're going to be happy enough with a streaming service? Come on, man. That's bullshit. You know, I do want to say this because I did a Tony's take on this, and I said also the same guys that refuse to pay for any subscription are going to suddenly pay for this. I call bullshit on that. Now, granted, somebody said, hey, what about World of Warcraft and stuff? They pay for that. Great point, right? But it's different. You're paying for like an actual real game that runs on your shit. You can modify however you want. You can't even modify this shit, you know?
And that's different. That you play with others. Most people that play World of Warcraft, they have a group of people they play with.
It's worth
you're not
it.
getting that same experience.
Yeah, you're not getting that. It's you know, here's what I predict. A lot, you know, PC guys will try it for a month of free trial. Then that's it. They're not trying that shit again.
No, they'll try it, and then they'll all put their shit together and make an emulator that emulates the PlayStation.
Yeah. Right.
I think they're the guys that I talk to that are big into PC and they don't really have any consoles. Just want it for certain games. They just want to play certain games. You're like, yeah, I'll play it. But they're not into this whole which one is better and stuff. So they don't feel like they're breaking the rules or crossing the line. You know,
the thing is, I definitely, I mean, yes, it's an option, but at the same time, it's like, I also feel like that not every single PC player is into, you know, frame rates and all that other bullshit.
No, we're talking about like the PC master race dudes. Like,
I mean, yes, obviously,
obviously friends, you know.
Do you need the controller? Do you need to use a DualShock, or can you use a 360?
You can, if it's on PC, I'm assuming you can use whatever the controller you want. But here's the thing, though: there's some PlayStation games that require the touchpad.
The touchpad. Right? What I mean, they could also. Here's the other thing. I mean, maybe they can make it work with the Steam controller, but I don't know. I mean, you probably kind of need one.
Yeah.
Just majority of my people I know that do their gaming on PC, they use a 360 or Xbox One controller. You know, so I didn't think about that one. It's like, yeah, is it going to require you to use a DualShock?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question. But here's the other thing I want to bring up, right? Because again, everybody's just focusing on the Sony exclusives, right? Okay, look at the list of PlayStation 3 games, right? There's like 433. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about that, right? Look at the list. Most of those, you know what they are? They're third party. You're going to tell me that PlayStation 4 is suddenly only going to have exclusives. No, they're not. They're going to have third-party games mostly, just like the PlayStation 3. You're going to get, you know, Call of Duties and shit like that. That's what you're going to get. And like Carlos said, old games from like 2013, 2014. That's the shit you're going to get. They're not going to throw just their exclusives. It's going to be, remember what Sony said. Again, people need to read. PlayStation 4 games. They never said PlayStation exclusives. They said PlayStation 4 games.
You know what I wonder? I was thinking if they're going to have, like, the third parties are going to work together on this. Like, for example, let's say if EA for Microsoft's thing is going to have like 2 certain games, are those same games are going to be on the PS4 service, you know, during the same time? Like, is this something that the publisher's saying, all right, this is what we're giving you guys to offer for your streaming and downloading passes or whatever? You know what I mean? Since it's going to be third party. You know, if there's agreements that they're working out with them, you know, or is it like saying, all right, here's 10 games, here's your 10 games, you pick the 2 that you want for this month or whatever, and then you can rotate from there. Is the way Phil Spencer described it, it's really up to the third party, it's up to the publisher to tell them which games they can use. They can't request a game. You know, he said, I can't just say, yeah, I want Mass Effect 1 and 2 and 3 on this. No, you know, EA has to say, hey, here's a list of the games that we're willing to give you guys and to support this. Of course, they're going to get their cut out of it, but I wonder if that's the same list that they're showing Sony when it comes to the PS4 games.
Well, I'm assuming they have their specific list of games they could have, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's got to be. And the thing is it going to be similar? Is it going to be one of those situations where it's the first of the month and on Xbox for their streaming pass service, you'll see, Joe Game 1, Joe Game 2, and Joe Game 1, Joe Game 2 is also on the PS4 service,
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's identical, just in different forms. One streaming, one gives you the option to download.
I got to ask you like a little bit of a conspiracy theory type of question. What do you guys think of guys saying that Sony only did this to counter Xbox Game Pass? I'm laughing because I can't even say that without laughing. I think Sony already had this going. Think about it. Sony announced they were going to kill PlayStation Now on all these services like a month ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was coming. It wasn't like they suddenly went, oh, fuck, Game Pass destroys our shit. We better do something.
I think they did that because of the adding PS4. Maybe it requires a certain amount of processing power or something. It's got to be something different that maybe those apps that are running on those devices just can't support.
Yeah,
so they were like, it's not going to work. So
I don't know. I feel like they're probably looking at the engagement numbers and seeing what people are playing on.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're. I'm sure that most of their subscribers are not probably not playing on a Vita and are probably not playing on a PlayStation 3 and definitely not on a friggin' on the TV.
On the Bravia and stuff.
Yeah, on the Bravia.
I don't know anyone that's tried that.
The funny thing is that I did actually have a chance to kind of test it out with my mom's TV. She actually had it, but what do you need? A PlayStation controller.
Yeah, I know why you made it, because again, if you need a PlayStation controller, does that apply to PC too?
I just realized I'll try it tomorrow, because remember that 4K TV that I bought?
Yeah.
It has the PlayStation. There's a button. It says PlayStation. So tomorrow I'll try it out.
Yeah.
I think from what I remember, it was only the PlayStation 3 controller that worked with it.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, Brian showed up. Thankfully, Brian, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good as always. How about you guys?
All right, Brian, tell us why we're wrong about PlayStation Now and PlayStation 4 games.
Okay, I don't know what has been discussed so far, but first of all,
with your general thoughts, bro?
Okay, first of all, did anyone ask why Sony is doing this in the first place?
Yes, we did, and we theorized that maybe PlayStation Now is not doing that good, so they need to add PlayStation 4 games in order to drum up support, because no one really talks about this shit. And Brian, you already know on Throwdown, we shit on this thing all the time. We don't think it's a good service.
You know what? I just realized something. You know what they should do? Especially because even on the PS3, there were a bunch of games you could digitally download. It should detect that. And say, hey, you know what? We realize because from the store network, you purchase this, so you get to stream this game for free.
Well, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay for individual games.
You do?
No, you don't. It's a lump sum.
You can rent for like $4 or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, I don't know about that. But anyway, but I want Brian to go off on this. Go ahead, man.
Okay, yeah. From my understanding, it's pretty much the same thoughts that you guys are having, which is that Sony has kind of been listening to what we've been saying, because the thing that we've been saying is that, hey, PlayStation Now is kind of expensive for what it is, and it would be nice if we could have it at a cut-down price for those of us that have PSN Plus, which is fair. We all think that's fair, and then it would seem to me that Sony is kind of listening to that, and what they understood from us saying that is that we wanted PS Now to have better value. So hence why they threw the PS4 games in there. Did Sony ever talk about how long it will take the PS4 games to come over, or did they just say?
No, they just said PlayStation 4 games. They didn't give any. That's the thing. I want your thoughts on this, because we don't think any new games are going to be coming out day one. That doesn't make sense. Like Bloodborne and shit like that, you'll probably see on this. Horizon, not this year. What do you make of that?
Oh yeah, it just would not be wise to put them on there day one. Maybe in the first 6 months, probably after launch. I would guess between 3 to 6 months makes reasonable sense, as that seems to be like the trail off when games don't start selling as well as they did.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to ask you specifically, because my personal theory is I think the games are going to go on there whenever they don't sell anymore. Like it could, and it's like game by case basis. Like let's say Horizon still is selling well 6 months from now, you're not going to see that game on there. But if it stops selling for whatever reason, then you will see it on there. It's a way for them to help boost games that are kind of lost.
But wouldn't you want to see something like that part of the Plus service before it goes to now?
Well, I'm going to get into that later. I actually have my own, like, how this could work. But anyway, Brian, so what do you think? So I think Brian, I'm a little disappointed, by the way. I thought you were going to come here disagreeing, and you're mostly agreeing with everything we've been saying so far.
I just said that I disagreed. All I said is that I have like a different thought process to you guys. And plus, I haven't like started like why I think it could be a good idea.
Yeah, I want to hear that because I want the PC take on this. Because remember, this is the way I'm seeing it. I'm like, why would a guy that's used to games running at 1440p, higher than 60 frames a second, able to mod his shit all he wants, why would he subject himself to 720p streaming games with input lag and 30 frames a second? That's the part I don't understand.
That could be purely based down to a cost, because it seems like people do not think about the cost overall. Okay, how much is PlayStation Plus in the US for 1 year?
60.
It fluctuates because I know it's $45 per 3 months. So add that together, and that's what the price is.
Well, it's 60.
For like
they said it's $59.99 for the year.
I don't know. I'm horrible with math. So 45 times 4. What's that?
What?
No, he said PlayStation Plus.
Dude. Plus it's 60 now, Brian. 60
plus. Okay,
yeah.
So
PlayStation now is
45
of fucking 3 months.
But and they do individual rentals.
Wait,
yeah.
I thought that PlayStation Now was like $100 for like a month.
No,
the whole year.
PlayStation Now now?
PlayStation Now is $100 for the year.
PlayStation Now
for the year.
Yeah, PlayStation Now I've noticed every December or so they sell it for $100 for an entire year, but generally it's $45 for 3 months.
Okay, let's assume that you get it like every year, so that's 100 like straight, and then let's say like PlayStation Plus is 60 for the year, and then you include like one exclusive per year. On a purely cost-based platform, then PlayStation Now is cheaper, just based on like either PlayStation Now for the year or PlayStation Plus and one game for the year. PlayStation Now is by far the cheaper option. Now, that's not even factoring the cost of a PS4, which people can assume that you do or do not have. Now, if you're someone who's like, okay, cool, I want to play like some PS4 games, I have option A, which is PlayStation Now for 1 year and play as many PS4 games as I like. However, I don't know if that includes third-party games or not.
It will. Like I said earlier, the vast majority of the PlayStation 3 games on PlayStation Now are third-party, so we have to assume that's going to be the case for PlayStation 4 games.
That is kind of concerning because it brings into question how many exclusives will be there, and of course, no one really knows. But assuming that they get released roughly the same rate as they did on PS4 in some fashion, then it's okay. But still, if you're looking at it from like the cost point of view, like it's either option A, which is $100 for the year for PS Now, or you buy a PS4 from scratch, you add in one game, and depending on the type of game it is, it may or may not require you to have PSN Plus.
Yeah, so you think all that is worth it to play games that are probably 2 years old?
Yeah, I mean, like,
and the reduced quality and the input lag, that's worth it.
It's okay. The reason that people game on PC is not purely because of graphics and frame rates. It's because
I know that. But I'm specifically talking about the guys that is their principal reason for the play on PC. What's in it for those guys?
I don't know.
That's
that you talk to them.
You know,
like for me,
I mean, those guys play multi-plat on PC anyway, though. I mean,
they could play the multi-plat version natively on their shit.
They may want to. They may not want to. I don't know. Like, I can't say that they will.
You want to, Brian?
Of course not, because my PC is powerful enough. But then, like, what if you don't have a powerful enough PC?
Yeah. Okay. So see, now we're getting somewhere. So this isn't for the enthusiast PC guys. It's for average PC guys. That's what you're saying, right?
But that's not a bad thing. Okay, so they can increase their market share
anyone.
for people who have
it's
like
anyone with
just a home
like,
PC.
Yeah. No, okay. The reason I'm asking this, I got to bring it back to this. Then why are the guys that are hardcore PC enthusiasts, guys that spend thousands on their shit, saying, "Oh, I could just play all your games now. Your system's worthless." Why are they saying that shit when these guys aren't going to be playing these games in the first place?
Because they still can like play the PS4 games without having to buy a PS4.
Yeah, so they're just talking shit then, I guess.
No, like PS Now would allow PC guys to play PS4 games without having a PS4.
Yeah, but again,
right? So to them,
at a lesser quality,
itself,
you know.
Yeah, but it's still the same game.
Yeah, and I'm not going to I'm not disagreeing with that, but
they're right, Tony. I mean, it's cards on the table. Yes, PC is probably the one of, or it's probably the most efficient, superior platform that you can play on single player. It's not the question of the quality of the games. Like, yeah, they can play PlayStation games now. They kind of have that leg up, but then the problem comes, it's like having a car that needs a lot of maintenance. PC, you need to know a little bit more. And, the younger people, and I hate, God, this makes me feel old, but younger people, they can do it, but there's a lot of pain in the ass that comes with PC.
Oh, yeah.
Making sure that your drivers are all updated, being able to actually get the game to launch, not running into fucking hackers, things like that. So there's all kinds of arguments to be made about why people play on different platforms, but it's not because PlayStation or Xbox can give us the amount of games or the quality of games, because overall PC gets most games. Like, there are more games on PC than there are on either console, and you can run them at a higher resolution. So I mean, that's kind of a non-talking point at this juncture, isn't it? At this point, we're just talking about, is it worth it for PC or for PC owners to buy this service exclusively for exclusives, I guess.
Yeah,
but then
again, remember, if we're going by the PlayStation 3 model, most of the games on the service will not be exclusives.
This is true, but also then you can think about, like, maybe they're going for a Netflix kind of thing. Maybe they're going for if you're 14 years old and you just have like a budget family PC, you don't necessarily have access to a PS4. Maybe they won't buy you one. This could be them just getting a small amount of people that can actually play their games now.
Yeah, so you think it just opens it up to a different audience then, that could potentially buy a PlayStation 4 down the line.
Exactly. I don't think that this is really, yes, the PC player or the PC owners get bragging rights in the sense that, we can play your games now. But let's be fucking honest, you're not going to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, they're not going to,
No, they can, but they're not going to. So this is this whole thing is very niche to me.
Yeah, I agree, Brett.
Because I often hear a lot of guys saying like, "Hey, I have X console for exclusives." So like, there are guys out there that are just buying these platforms purely for the exclusives and exclusives only. So I think that to them, they'll be like, "Oh, I can now get it at a cheaper price point," or "I can now get access to these games at a cheaper price point." And
so
I think that those guys,
even if they have to wait a few years, it doesn't matter, right?
PC gamers have a different mindset. It's not about like when you play the game; it's about playing the game in general.
Yeah,
there's still guys out there that are just like, "Hey, you know what? Hey, I'm playing like Half-Life 2 this weekend." It's like, okay, cool, great. Like, games like 15 years old now, but it's still like new to them. It's still like, as long as they play the game, they don't care. Like,
yeah, go ahead, Chris.
It's not about like launch days. It's just about playing the game whenever they like.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was gonna say that Sony wins in either scenario, because these guys who PC gamers who wouldn't touch PlayStation with a 10-foot pole will now pay for PS Now and go, haha, I don't have to buy a PlayStation. Well, haha, Sony still get your money because now you have to subscribe to their service to play the game. So they're still getting your money. They didn't have a prospect of getting your money before, because you weren't going to lower yourself down and get a console. But now you got a subscription. So that actually is win-win for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then the other thing I want to bring to you guys is this is the way I think they could make this really good for people, right? Okay, you're not going to get let's just say Spider-Man's coming out, right? Okay, you're not going to get Spider-Man, obviously, on day one. That's craziness. But they could be like, hey, you know what? For this weekend, try Spider-Man. That's a good way to hype shit up. I think that would be pretty smart. I don't think they'll do that, but I think that would be very smart. When they got a new game coming out, a new exclusive, put that shit on PS Now for the weekend, let dudes go crazy. Then come Tuesday, they buy the fucking game, you know? So what do you guys think about that possibility? That's just me speculating, by the way. I just wanted to throw it out there, see what you guys think.
No, that would be interesting if they could rent it for 48 or 72 hours and sample the game. And then, it's like, wow, this is really good. I'll buy it, But yeah. I think they would have to change their pricing plan a little bit. Like Adam said, you could rent that game. They would need to do a special, whatever, $5, $8, whatever. I don't know. Something.
Yeah. I'm going to show you the pricing now.
You're right about that, Chris. Like, have a special rent price for that game. It's kind of like EA Access, just with a little bit more money. If you think about EA Access,
they do that for certain games. Every once in a while, when you get emails, it'll say, "Oh, you can get this game, and you can get it for 99 cents a day, as opposed to like the 3 and change."
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's bullshit. I mean, back in the day, dude, back in the day, and again, showing my age, you go to Blockbuster and for $5, you could rent a fucking video game, and you kept that shit for a week.
Yep.
And any real gamer could plow through that game in a week. Up to date on pretty much all of your games.
Right,
You see, the key there was back in the day. Kids today, they don't know Blockbuster. They don't know that rental system like we know.
Blockbuster doesn't know Blockbuster. That shit don't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's such a worse value now, and that's and you Adam, you hit the nail on the head. Like, they don't know how far off from back, fuck, when we were kids, it wasn't that expensive.
Nope.
And even now, I would pay $30 a month to, basically be able to keep a game a week at a time. And I guess GameFly still kind of does that.
Tab, by the way, I need to bring this up. South Star Online, Brian, this is a response to what you said. He goes, PC gamers, different mindset, ? The same people that I call the petition crew, these people be throwing up the most petitions when a game is announced and it's then headed to PC. They do want the games.
Okay, where's your proof of these of these numbers?
Oh no, it's true. Like Horizon had one.
No. I want to see petition for Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. I want to see the petition for Nier on PC. I want to see the petition.
Ryan, you don't go on Twitter enough. There's always petitions for these things, man.
I want to see these petitions because
this man is denying reality.
Was to prevent Bloodborne to come on PC. After that rumor of the Amazon Bloodborne PC thing.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one from Change.org. As always, it's Horizon Zero Dawn to come to PC. So there's that. That's the latest one, Brian. I know you like the latest shit. So there's the latest one, right? Let's see if Neo got one. I didn't hear about that one. That would be interesting. Oh yes, there we go. There's Neo petition for PC. Change.org.
How many signatures?
I don't even know, but the things exist. So somebody was it 16,000 supporters for Neo. Let's see how many Horizon got.
He's wanting me to subscribe.
So Horizon got even less. But the point is, these things do exist. I see it all the time. So some PC guys do want the games.
I'll buy it at a high price.
Yeah, good one. All right, I think we pretty much nailed this. By the way, again, like Carlos said, this was essentially a non-story that got blown out of proportion because of crazy-ass fanboys. But again, who cares? Fucking, it's PlayStation Now. Who gives a shit? It's a crap service. It's always been a crap service.
Yeah, at the end of the day, most of us, or all of us, are not going to even use it.
Fuck that shit. I find it funny that, this is the quote-unquote Sony down. We've been shitting on PlayStation Now since day one. Fuck that thing. All right, let's move on here. Speaking about Horizon Zero Dawn. So today it was announced that the game sold this is a little off. It's actually 2.6 million copies worldwide. That's physical and digital. And that's Sony's, for at least for PS4, the biggest selling IP, Very interesting. And Chris, remember we were talking.
New IP.
Yeah, new IP. Yeah, new IP.
Yeah, because it's still the biggest selling IP for the first couple of weeks, I do believe, is either Uncharted or The Last of Us Remastered.
Yeah,
I can't remember which.
But yeah, that's the best-selling new IP from PlayStation 4, just to get it right. And this goes to what Chris and I were talking about, because people are saying, "Oh, Zelda's going to outsell this thing." Really? I don't think so. They sold. We're gonna get to the story too. Nintendo Switch sold 1.5 million. They're almost gonna run out of their stock of 2 million. We said Horizon was gonna outsell Zelda, and there it is. Right. Go ahead, Chris. I know you guys can add
it
to
was
that.
statistically impossible for Zelda to outsell Horizon just because of the number of PlayStation 4s already in the market. Like, you'd have, even if you assume that they sold 100% of the Switches out, the 2 million. If they sold every one of those and every one of those people bought Zelda with it, it still wouldn't have done it. Like, where were you guys going to figure this out?
Well, I mean,
yeah, Carlos, you brought up a good point about this, so go ahead.
I have an issue with Chris saying it's statistically impossible. If you say statistically improbable, then I would agree with you.
Oh, here we go, splitting hairs, splitting hairs.
But
I'm siding with Chris. It is statistically impossible. Fuck that.
No, man. Because like there's plenty of PS4 exclusives that aren't selling as well as Horizon. And like you said, Horizon is the best-selling new IP on the PS4. Like, there's only one game that's ever done that. Think about it.
Yeah.
And what we've seen, like, we'll talk about this later, but oh no, it wasn't. Was it 1.5 Switch or was it?
Yeah, 1.5 Switch. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not Zelda. I mean, we're gonna kind of mix the two stories together and stuff, but keep them separate anyway, Carlos, in the show notes. But it's like, damn, now I lost my train of thought. But yeah, okay, the attach rate. Motherfuckers are saying, oh, like Horizon sold more than, or probably sold more than Zelda. Doesn't matter. Look at the attach rate. Zelda has a 87% attach rate. Horizon has a 5% attach rate. What other games are you buying for your fucking Switch?
1-2 Switch.
Come on, no one's buying one
Bomberman
or fucking milk, whatever the fuck that shit is. People are buying it for Zelda because that's the only real big game. There's a ton of other shit. As a matter of fact, I was telling Chris this. I was like, I'm surprised Horizon even sold that many, considering how many games Tony put out. And this is just the first 2 weeks. Pony.
I mean, like, Carlos, I know I say possible, but nothing's impossible, right? I mean, you could hit the Powerball tomorrow. I mean, look at the odds.
Please do, and share with me, please.
Yeah, but
if you do, I just want you to know you're always my best friend. We're Hispanic brothers.
You're my favorite.
The odds were astronomically unlikely in Nintendo's favor of Zelda beating Horizon Zero Dawn. Like,
well, there's also the issue that there's definitely a cap just because of the number of systems out in the wild. PlayStation has such a vastly higher market share that it puts it in the realm of almost impossible, highly improbable.
Right, highly improbable. And also the fact that they only have a 2 million cap. Nobody knows. Retailers are even like, I don't know when we're getting any more. Right? Nintendo's not saying anything. Where's the rest of the systems? They didn't even sell the stock they had, yet somehow nobody has any, and they don't know when they're getting any more. And yet, Horizon is still going to sell. It still has a length of time to go. This is only 2 weeks, right? Zelda doesn't have room to grow in terms of sales. PlayStation has all the room to grow in the world in terms of sales.
Yeah, and it's funny because like the Wii U version isn't even. I don't think it's selling at all, really. Which is hilarious because the game was made for the Wii U,
But they haven't really advertised it. I do know 2 people that have it, but they're following and they know. So, but I mean,
well, of course,
that's because nobody has a Wii U and nobody's going to buy it. Like, I'll be honest, I would buy a Switch before I'd buy a Wii U. Like, I really want to play the Zelda game.
I'm fucking dead,
Yeah, like, and that's why Tony and I were talking about this earlier. Like, I'm convinced that. And I know people are going to argue with me on this, but I'm convinced by the numbers and the sales that this is proof that Zelda is a system seller. Because
this Zelda is a system
seller. Yes. I think this is where we finally made our resolution. The last couple Zeldas have not been able to sell systems. They have not been good. But Zelda has such a legacy that the second I fucking heard the new Zelda game's pretty good, like my ears perked up and it's like a crack at it. I broke into a hot sweat. I'm like, oh man.
The thing is that all the Zelda games haven't been bad. I mean, even Twilight Princess wasn't a bad game, and neither was the
yeah, but many didn't score as much as on Metacritic.
Okay, you know what? The only difference, the only reason why it got so much higher is because they decided to go back to what Zelda originally was,
Yeah,
as opposed
it's
to.
weird. I mean, we're not going to get into Zelda right now, but it's just interesting how the game is radically different from Zelda games, but actually went back to basics. It's like, here's a big world, go have fun.
Yeah, well, it's radically different from from the current, the last 20 years, maybe less than 20 years of Zelda games. The ones from Nintendo 64 on.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Back, I mean, you can go back to like even the Game Boy Advance ones, and those are pretty open.
Yeah. So yeah, by the way, because I got to do this. Brett heard about this thing, and now he's trying to be like Joy-Con boys. Brett, man, you getting on board, man? What's up?
I'm tempted, man. I really am. Like, and the thing is, like, I feel like I'm getting ready to be the sort of a big keeping pile of crow because, I still think the system is crap. I still think it's rushed. I still don't think it's good engineering, but I'm starting to look at it from a different point of view where it's not a console. It is a handheld that you plug into your TV. And as Tony said earlier, it's what we wanted the Vita to be. And at the end of the day, even though you could play your Vita on a TV, it wasn't a console, it was a handheld. And if Nintendo, like they did it seems like they put a lot of love into Zelda. And if they put that amount of love into, say, Smash Brothers, Pokemon, the new Mario Kart that's coming out,
that's a port.
They could have something here.
Yeah, but they won't. Like the Zelda took what, 6 years?
Yeah, that's the problem.
You put that much love into their other games, they'll go bankrupt. They don't have the time to wait for that kind of stuff. Like they just don't. And I mean, they need stuff right now. And this year is pretty damn sparse. There'd be a lot of trouble.
They should have launched with the Smash Brothers. I'm convinced that if they would have launched with the Smash Brothers, then we'd be having a completely different conversation.
All right. By the way, I had to do this. Some guy in the chat, Ronnie Rage, I had to throw that dude out the fucking room. This guy was talking shit. Is Kristen not around Chris tonight, man? This guy he was saying like racist shit in there. I'm like, what the fuck is that, man? Thank you to my man Sirius B for letting me know about that. Thank you. Holy shit.
I think she's not feeling too well.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, he was saying some nasty shit about us, apparently.
Yeah, he started talking shit, and then like I had to step out, and like apparently he went even more. And man,
yeah, he called you he called you a filthy Mexican. I saw him like, done. You're done. We don't take that shit away.
Hey, you can call me a filthy Mexican all you want, man, but I make more money than you do. So
motherfucker. That's right.
Get at me.
Motherfuckers. All right, sorry about that. Just had to school some dudes in here. But yeah, Horizon doing pretty well. 2 weeks. We're gonna see what the whole month is gonna be. And by the way, NPD specifically said they are not counting any of Horizon's February sales, which is only 1 day. They're gonna count all that to March. So it'll be interesting to see which one ends up winning in the end. But yeah, let's move on to Nintendo real quick. So yeah, it did sell 1.5 million units. This isn't officially confirmed, and just like Microsoft, Nintendo doesn't detail the numbers, so people had to just kind of infer it and stuff from based on other factors. But with that said, okay, they're supposed to have 2 million, right? They sold 1.5 million. They're like we've said on Throwdown many times, there's already shortages. People are complaining. Retailers like, I don't have enough of these things to sell. People want the system, they don't fucking have them. Typical Nintendo bullshit. Yes. We told you guys, you didn't fucking listen.
Well, I mean, they buy Reggie's bullshit. Then he's
So does that mean that he lied? Yes, it did mean he lied.
Yes, he lied about everything. He went like, "Oh, there won't be friend codes." Fucking day one, there people are like, "Oh shit, there's friend codes." He lied about everything.
Yeah, exactly. So Nintendo's fucking bullshit. And then the other thing we got to talk about is more problems with the fucking hardware. Like we always said, this thing is a piece of shit in hardware wise. Now it's apparently melting SD cards. Well, Chris, what the fuck is going on, man?
Oh, Etika blew this up because he made a video. Some guy on Twitter, he took pictures. He showed a SanDisk card and it was melted. I mean, the shit was mush and had his fingerprint, said it burned his finger. He said his switch got real hot. He pulled the SD card out. The plastic was melted, burned his finger when he pulled it out, right? You could see his fingerprint in the plastic. the thing overheated and actually melted the card in there. And I guess he tried to pull it out before it did damage, right?
Yeah, basically. But of course, you know, dudes started damage controlling. Oh no, it's the card that's shitty. It's the card that's shitty. Nintendo has there's no culpability here.
Yeah,
the fucking cards, even if they are shitty, which I'll, you know, based on user reviews, they wouldn't melt unless the fucking system overheated. You know,
yes.
There was like a article posted that explains why the system isn't overheating. But Chris, what do you make about that? Because that sounded a little suspect to me. You know.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: when a card, if the card was to overheat, right, that would mean that the leads and were creating so much resistance that they just lit up. Like, you know how a light bulb works? You just have the tungsten filament, you run a current through it. It's a huge resistor, so it heats up and it creates light. So the same principle would happen to SanDisk cards, except they don't manufacture their cards right like that because that would be dumb. They would all melt. So even if you had a defective card, the worst that would happen is the leads would snap and it would just disconnect and wouldn't work. The heat that happened, the plastic outside the card was melted, which means the heat came from the system itself and not run through the card. It would have melted from the inside out and the leads would have snapped. They're meant to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
They wouldn't pass any type of UL standards or anything if it did this at any time during testing. So, and you would see that the leads would have melted first. It would have melted from the inside out. It would heat it up inside and melted outside. But that's not what he showed in the picture. The outside of the card was melted, and he had his fingerprint in it because it burned his finger. That means the system itself heated up enough to melt the plastic on the outside of the housing. Right? That's a system problem. And like Tony said, the card doesn't heat up by itself.
Yeah,
So,
it doesn't just magically just burst into fucking flames, you know?
Yes. The worst that would happen is the leads would snap from the heat, and the card just wouldn't work anymore. That's what would have happened. And that if no current can run through it, then no heat can get through it, and it just wouldn't work. It's not going to heat up to the point where it's going to melt itself, right? This is highly unlikely.
Yeah, so again, people damage controlling, you know, as usual, you know, and this kind of leads into the next thing I want to talk about. And we're going to talk about him a little bit later on, to a little bit of follow-up. Okay, so Colin Moriarty was asked, do you think Nintendo gets a pass? Just like we always say on Throwdown, he said, yes, they do. And this thing right here is just the latest example of that. And motherfuckers, yo, I spent my whole afternoon with these guys yelling at me when I said that. It was like, I literally just said, hey, I agree with what Colin said. Oh, no, Tony, you're the one that's biased.
No, they do get a pass, and so does Bethesda.
Yep.
So
don't get me started. And Telltale Games gets a pass too, you know. But you're gonna tell me they don't? Nintendo gets a hardcore pass. And Chris, before we start to ask you, Chris, specifically bring up incidents of where Nintendo got a big pass out. If any other company were to do the same fucking shit, they would have been destroyed.
Right. I mean, the Switch has multiple examples, but you go back to the Wii. The Wii original Wii sold with no straps. And there was no Wii remote cover for it. So people were throwing the Wii remotes around. Remember, people took pictures of the TVs broken. People were hitting each other with the remotes and stuff because they couldn't hold it in their hand. So you play Wii Sports, and you tell people, swing it like you swing a baseball bat. So some people are dumb and go full force and lob the controller all over the house, right? And then later on, so what did Nintendo do? What they always do. They say, oh, people are playing it wrong, and they started making graphics showing like, don't do this, do this. And then meantime, what did they have to do when they got enough outrage? They started giving away straps for free, and they started including the silicone cover, right? The Wii remote cover for everything. So if you do lob it, it doesn't like shatter glass or hit somebody in the face, you know, so it's soft. But again, nobody said anything. Nobody, there was no like, oh, no, they just said people are stupid and they're playing it wrong and laugh. Look at this fool broke his TV. No, they didn't give him anything to make sure that didn't happen. There's no grip on the Wii remote. It's a slippery, glossy piece of plastic. So. You know, and then they didn't admit fault. They just released the straps and they said, oh, you can get straps for free. You could order as many as you want. And they made the cover. Why did they make the cover? Because they realized they were wrong and they should have included that shit in the first place.
Dude, they made the cover free retroactively too.
Yes.
Also, may I add, the place to order the strap was also hidden in Nintendo's website.
Yes, their support site, which is awful, by the way. It still looks awful. It looks like it's from like the late 90s. And yeah, like Manny said, it's deep in there. You know, easily find it. They didn't like send an apology or anything and tell people where to easily get this. They didn't provide them at Nintendo World or GameStop or anybody to go, hey, provide a bunch of straps. Anyone else would do that. But anyone else, if Sony did that, if Microsoft did that, like they would be raked over the coals, right? Constantly. And then you know, I won't go into review scores and how I think like if there's media bias or whatever, you know, that shit. But that's like one instance. I mean, other instance, look at the gamepad for the Wii U. The gamepad, you got one gamepad per Wii U. There was no way to buy a gamepad from Nintendo at all externally. So if you broke the gamepad, which many people have broken their gamepads, guess what you have to do? You either have to send your system, all of it, back to Nintendo to get a replacement, or you have to buy another system. There's no way to replace that gamepad. If anybody else, if PlayStation told you, hey, you only get one DualShock, man, if you break that shit, send back your system or buy another PlayStation, people would be livid. People would be flipping out. They'd be doing cartwheels down the street. They'd be so mad. And nobody could get away with that. No other company could get away with that. They get away with it, right? And nobody says anything. But everybody said, when is it going to be another gamepad? Can I buy a gamepad? No, that's fine. Nintendo could do that. They could be 5-10 years behind the curve. It's fine. You know, like I pointed out.
It's the Apple effect.
Horizon, yeah, Apple gets, but Nintendo has it way more. The Apple effect happens, but less so because there's more people like PC owners and Android owners or whatever will point out Apple's bullshit. Of course, there's Apple faithful will say stuff, but you know, PC guys like Brian and stuff will call out their bullshit immediately. You know, and if you have half a brain, you would. But Nintendo, just from nostalgia and all these factors, get just infinite forgiveness for everything they do. And if they are 5 or 10 years behind the curve and they implement something that has been on PC or another console for years, they will get called innovative. It's the same thing that just happened with Breath of the Wild.
Let's talk about Breath of the Wild real quick. I originally was going to talk about the whole thing with Jim Sterling, but we did cover it on the Sunday show. No need to go into that. This is, by the way, the very strange week for your boy Tony. I find myself agreeing with two people I normally don't agree with, you know, Colin Moriarty and Jim Sterling. Jim Sterling said, why isn't anyone talking about the fact that the weapons in this game are fucked up in Zelda? He said there's a lot of things wrong with the game. He gave it a 7 out of 10. He got DDoS and all this other shit. You know, Chris said it was even worse than that.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. His site is back up today, by the way. Yesterday, it was still down. Yesterday, when it was still down.
So he gave the game a 7 out of 10, just like we talk about on your questions. And he made a follow-up video talking about some of the reasons why he feels that way. And all his reasons were valid, perfectly valid. And I was thinking, wait, and Colin mentioned this too. If Zelda was a different name, not a Zelda game, just the same exact game, just on a different platform, it would have been fucking murdered for the same shit that it's praised for. The fucking, I was going to say weapon endurance. It's not weapon endurance. Like Jim said, weapon fragility. That's what it is. You know, you're hitting dudes with a fucking wet, like tissue paper in that fucking game.
I have to disagree with that because Dark Souls 2 fell prey to that real bad and people forgave it.
Yeah, no, Dark Souls wasn't even that bad, Brett. Like
they fixed it though. They patched it though. That's the thing.
You don't
Brett, I remember people complaining
about too. You don't, I even complain about that, but you don't lose your weapon. When your weapon breaks in Dark Souls 2, you can go back to Majula or whatever and get it repaired. You can repair anything. You keep the weapon, you just have to repair it. And you do have repair powder and things like that in Dark Souls 2. When Zelda, when you break a weapon, it's gone forever. It's gone. Tony was saying, I don't want to give spoilers. I won't mention that. But everything disappears. Once you lose it, it's gone.
Yeah, and the thing is, I would even forgive that if you at least let me get 100 hits or something. You know, this is literally less than 10 hits, and your fucking shit is gone. You know, I'm like, any other game would do that, it would be destroyed. You know, but again,
I play a lot of games like that, Tony.
What games are you play survival games like that?
Yeah, it's taking its cue from survival games. It's what it's.
But they're doing it wrong, though. You know,
they're not doing it the best way. I absolutely agree with that. But the concept of to keep away from a power creep, you have to take away things, and it's a concept I kind of agree with because otherwise you end up with the kind of Blizzard World of Warcraft effect where you just keep getting more and more grandiose, ridiculous, stupid armor. Like things have to be consumable. I would like to say that I think Nintendo would patch that, But
They're
that's
not
the
going to
kind
do
of
that.
thing.
Nintendo
No,
ain't patching
and that
shit.
and therein lies the difference. In if it were any other company, people would bitch and they would patch it. But because it's Nintendo, I think that people will just kind of, and I'm not sure if it's they realize that Nintendo will not listen to them bitching and will not give a fuck, or whether they're just their fanboyism is enough for them to completely forgive it. But they won't make the attempt.
Yeah.
And like I said, that could be completely because Nintendo doesn't give a fuck what you say or think. They're gonna do what they want, and they don't give a fuck if you want it patched. They'll patch it if they want to, and no sooner.
And again, just like we talked about before, I just find it interesting how this one specific site, I'm going to call them out on this, US Gamer, right? They gave Horizon a pretty low score saying, oh, it's just ripping off The Witcher 3. Then they gave Zelda a very high score saying, oh, it's taking cues from The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Okay, granted, it's two different people reviewing it, but like Chris said, the editor must have seen that go, well, yo, hold on a second here. What the fuck? This isn't consistent.
Yeah, and it's not like the games came out months apart. The games came out days apart. These reviews came out days apart. An editor would go, wait, didn't you just say Horizon sucked for the same reason?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, may I add that Ganon sounds very familiar.
Manny, please be careful playing any Nintendo shit on this fucking
That is not Ganon. That is a cleric beast.
Okay.
The cleric beast makes this. The Ganon makes the same screeching scream noise that the cleric beast makes.
Interesting. You got me scared there, man. Fuck.
No, I am playing on Nintendo.
Oh,
Wait, that's not the cleric beast from Dark Souls 3, is it?
What is that from Bloodborne, right?
Yeah,
it's a Bloodborne. It's Bloodborne's cleric beast. It was actually not that scream, but it was actually the other like really high pitched scream that it does.
So yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious Nintendo gets a hardcore pass. Like, granted, people do give them shit when they need to. Like, even though the Wii U, as Chris said, didn't get they got a pass when it comes to the gamepad. The Wii U was still raked over the coals, rightfully so. Because people didn't know what the fuck it was when it was originally announced.
You know why they didn't allow you to buy the new gamepad, right? Because people were so fucking confused by the goddamn console, they probably would have bought the gamepad and thought they could connect it to their fucking Wii.
That's a good point, But yeah, they definitely, again, listen to past Throwdowns. We illustrated shit all the fucking time. Nobody wants to listen to us. And segueing to the next story, something else that we called and nobody really took us serious, right? Okay, after everything happened with Colin Moriarty, right? I don't need to go into that again. Watch the last episode. You'll know what we're talking about. He ended up leaving kind of funny, right? Carlos, you were right, man.
Yeah,
Carlos was right.
Yeah, Carlos was right. Just replace Colin.
Your Carlos was right. Fuck, Colin was right. Carlos was right.
This was what, Thursday, right? Last week. So there was Throwdown of last week. We're talking about like the whole Colin with that tweet, and I'm like, I think that dude's just gonna leave kind of funny. And then that's what I predicted, like, because the dude's been like running the circuits now. Like, he's done the Dave Rubin show, he's done Glenn Beck's radio show, he's gonna be in Joe Rogan this week. This dude is hitting everyone up.
Yeah, the other half of the prediction, because we both kind of, me, you, and Chris principally, I was like, okay, he's going to leave. I didn't say he's going to leave, but I did say he's going to eventually be like a political commentator, maybe do his own show, doing The Blaze or something like that fits his style. So that's going to be the next thing. I think he's going to become one of those guys. He said it's like, hey, I'm gonna go to LA tomorrow. # the future. I'm like, there we go. He's going to become a political commentator.
Follow him.
Probably not. But he'll make a new audience.
Yeah,
Really?
I think for whatever, I think he'll have something. Whatever people will follow him, but I think that definitely it'll be new things. I mean, I think it's because he's a little bit known. It kind of works out a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like, I know this guy's. I know this guy's name. What's he all about? Type of stuff.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's like, Colin is a millennial conservative that's well educated and well spoken. He's gonna do really well in that.
Yeah,
whole
thank you for saying that. I was going to say the same thing. Again, there's not a lot of people like him. I was watching the Dave Rubin interview. That was actually a really, really good interview, right? And Dave Rubin was like, it's kind of funny that you're a conservative because you look like a typical San Francisco liberal. The way he dresses with the 2 earrings and shit. So yeah, Colin's going to be just fine. He's going to find a new audience. And again, go ahead.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny.
Kind of funny.
I suspected it might happen too, that he would leave. But I mean, I also feel like he didn't need to cut everything cold turkey. I mean, he could have still he even sold off his stock and all that stuff.
I don't believe it. I still don't believe that.
You think he's lying?
I think they're lying. I think it's just one of like those networks do it whenever there's an anchor, or remember the sports announcer who got caught with a prostitute getting whipped, remember? We terminated him, give it a year, and then you find out that he was never terminated, that he was on the down low still collecting a check, and they were waiting for things to cool down, and then they put him back on TV.
Interesting. Maybe because my Carlos, I'll let you speak, but my theory was like, okay, everything that went down was so crazy that kind of funny notes, if they have any sort of connection with him, they would get a bunch of shit. So like, let's just completely cut our ties, even though I still think that's fucked up because he founded the site. As far as I'm concerned, it's like, okay, if you want to leave, that's fine. You should still keep your fucking part of it. You founded it. Kind of funny wouldn't exist without Colin. I don't like the guy, but that's his thing, so I don't think he should have sold his shares, but maybe Adam's right. Maybe they're just fucking lying. I'm not going to go down. I'm going to have to assume that's what's going on.
I'll agree with Carlos. I don't think the line. I mean, I watched his last Gamecast, and the thing you sent with where he's talking about Nintendo.
Yeah,
man, he couldn't look more disinterested. He looks like he is checked out. Like,
and he's been like that in some shows. Yeah,
what were you gonna say before? Because that's another aspect.
And he said he wasn't going to PAX even before all of that. Even before everything happened, he stopped going to these things. He was like, I don't feel like going. I don't want to do that commute.
Yeah.
So. To me, the dude wants to speak his mind and not be able to hurt, because kind of funny is a corporation or a company that doesn't really do well with criticism.
Yeah,
it's in the left leaning video game market share, and if you bust out this whole anti SJW stuff, then you're going to get blowback and you're not going to be that successful. So he wants to get out of that and do his own thing. He wants to commentate and speak his mind and not get any consequences from that. He wants to actually, because he knows that by doing this kind of stuff, he's going to get an audience. He's going to get people that will gravitate to him because he's speaking what they've been wanting to speak,
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that one. He's gonna fight. He's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. People are kind of hungry for people like Colin now. I did find it funny how Colin is pretty much the only conservative guy in all the games media. Now he's gone. Very interesting. But he'll be all right. Even though I still think he's I still think he's a fucking Long Island asshole.
I feel like in general there are quite a bit of conservative people, but I think they all.
I'm sorry, man. Let me correct that. Openly conservative.
Yes, because I definitely think there's a lot of people that are just keep their mouth shut because
I could vouch for that. Trust me on that. There's a lot of people that don't say shit. He's right. And Colin said that in the Dave Rubin interview. He's like, there's a lot of people that think more conservatively. Guys who actually run some of these businesses and stuff, these game developers, they don't say shit. They keep quiet.
Yeah, they keep quiet because it's not, number one, it's like you, at least for that sort of thing, and I believe in this in general, especially if you have something that's just not related to anything political, is there any really reason to say anything political?
Yeah, no, you're hearing some, but I do find it funny that when
obviously, we're all entertainment shows. shouldn't we want to be concentrating on, getting people to, to have fun rather than to worry about the things that they see in the news and all this other shit every day?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of one of our tenets on Throwdown. We try to keep it down to a minimum, as much as possible. People don't come to us for fucking that shit. They come to us.
No, we're not fucking analysts. We're just a bunch of guys who play fucking video games. Write about them. So just we talk about the things we like and it's having fun. Whatever. Yeah,
even though granted this topic is veering into that, but it's still video game related and stuff. But yeah, very very interesting. Oh right, Brett's back. So yeah, he'll be okay. He'll be all right. I'm not worried about that guy. And the last thing here is, since we do have time for it, we got to talk about Mass Effect real quick, man. So there's been a couple of things. Not an embargo. Embargo is going to lift on Monday, but it's on EA Access. And then before that, there were some previews that were posted. And you guys know me, man. I'm a Mass Effect guy. I love Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 was like one of the best games I ever played in my life. And I had already pre-ordered this game, right? I'm seeing this shit. It's made me very suspect. Like the janky animations, the kind of suspect lip syncing, even like weird shit, like somebody shooting a gun and it's clearly backwards. I'm like, you guys had 3 games and you're getting the fucking gun wrong all of a sudden. Like weird shit's going on in it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm still getting the game, thankfully. Here's the thing, people. Like Manny said, where are we? We're gamers, right? I sometimes forget that I'm a gaming journalist. I got a code, so I'm good. I cancel my pre-order, so I'll still play, but I'm not as enthusiastic. I'm more like, can I just finish Zelda first? I'm more on that tip right now. But I hate Nintendo, right, Chris? Massive Chris, what do you think about all this Mass Effect craziness going on, man? Or are you worried because you're a big Mass Effect guy like me too?
Yeah, I've been worried for a little bit. Like I remember we were talking about one of the writers and I mentioned like it might have virtual signaling and stuff, so I was worried about that. They showed the Mako. They were taking stuff from the first game. I'm like, the Mako sucked, so don't fuck it up, guys. Like I started getting worried. Now I'm seeing this shit, like the tweets going out today, and I'm like, man, you better not fuck it up. And everybody thinks like the answer to everything is like day one patch, right? Everybody's just like, oh, day one patch, day one. I'm like. That better be a magical fucking patch. There better be the whole game over again.
For that, it seems like they were just answering to all of these criticisms in that patch. It was like, oh, we fixed the characters design, we fixed some of the voice issues, we fixed some of the sound issues. It's as if they were just replying back to everything that they saw in these forums.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't believe marketing guys for a fucking second. Like we'll see when that game happens. We'll see what Tony says. I don't believe these guys for a minute.
And this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Yeah, oh, man. Well, here's the thing. I have a theory, right? I could be completely wrong, but I have a theory, right? I'm wondering if a lot of these like graphical hiccups are due to the fact that this thing's running on the Frostbite engine instead of Unreal. Like we know Frostbite is a dope engine and stuff, but it seems like this feels like a Dead Space 3 situation. Dead Space 1 and 2 were running on their own proprietary engine, right? Whatever Visceral Games was running. And then they ran over to Frostbite and the game just wasn't looking as good, running as good. I'm wondering maybe that's what's happening here. I don't know.
No,
maybe only guys could run it. I don't know what's going on.
No, it's not that. Purely because like pretty much every EA game that comes out now is running on the Frostbite engine, and they are
Ryan,
okay.
Was the Need for Speed running on that? Because I wanted to ask you that.
Yep.
Was the
Yep, it was.
That was fine.
Like,
that was fine.
I think since Mass Effect 3, like every single like EA game was just like Frostbite.
Yeah, after Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect 3 was still Unreal,
Okay, if you say so, I can't remember.
Yeah, it is.
The latest FIFA is, I think, FIFA 17. Yeah. Windows Edge 2 as well is Frostbites, and even like the Battlefield games, like the animations in there are
all the EA games
are amazing.
Yeah.
So it's not the Frostbite engine that's fucked up; it's just that Bioware.
It's Bioware that's fucked
okay,
up.
so
but that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so let's get into that though. Okay, if it's not the engine, then it's got to be Bioware. But then I'm like, okay, what happened to Bioware? Because those Mass Effect games,
different rules.
I mean, Mass Effect had some fucking janky issues.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Everybody forgets about that shit.
Yeah.
Manny, people gave them a pass That's why.
Exactly, they gave them a pass.
I gotta say,
I mean, these are the same guys that made Jade Empire. As cool as Jade Empire was, that fucking game was broken.
Yeah,
that game was broken but like that's the thing
Go
about
ahead.
a lot of old BioWare games though, is they're broken but they're awesome. Like they
Oh,
seem
here
to
we
have
go.
kind of swapped to the other side. Like
so basically nothing's changed then. Is that what you guys are saying?
no, it's they're not awesome anymore from what I'm like, dude. The thing that really pisses me off, and I'm getting a lot of this information secondhand, but apparently they broke the mining system, like the whole planet scanning system, just not fun anymore. And I know Chris is on board with this one.
Chris is gonna get mad. Don't say that shit.
I said, don't fuck it up, man. I love my
They took my planet scanning.
Did they take the music too? Because I'll fucking flip out, man.
Don't fuck this man's mining up. Don't fuck it up.
No, they apparently did. There's no like scanning over planets. You just kind of
it's all planet landing, right? It's all Mako shit, right?
No, you like just highlight a part of a galaxy and you essentially shoot a probe into it, and then it zooms in on like an ore deposit, and basically says it adds this plus to your spreadsheet. It's
what?
No,
man, that's that old bullshit.
That's not cool, man.
That's what made like Mass Effect like Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I'm shooting you guys a link. You can see a video of what the new planet scanning looks like if you want to ruin it for yourself. Chris, I recommend you do so you lower your expectations.
Oh, God damn it.
But just to balance things out here, was it Paul Tassi, right, from Forbes? He wrote a pretty good editorial where he said, hey, you shouldn't judge the game on the first few hours because the first few hours fucking suck.
That doesn't help.
That doesn't help at all. No, get past the first season of DS9. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It happened to Black Sails. Black Sails first season.
So that was his whole thing. And like, okay, like granted, like why does it suck? Even Uncharted 2, that beginning was shit when you had to be stealthy and stuff. Like, okay, but that's what he says. Like, listen, the first few hours are really bad. Like, he didn't say whether it gets better or not, but he's like, you shouldn't judge the whole game on that.
That's not good. You should hook players. Nobody should have to trudge through 4 hours of gameplay before they start enjoying the game.
Yeah.
It's like the whole like Final Fantasy thing. It's like, it gets good after the first like 20 hours. It's like Final Fantasy. No one to like invest that much time. It's like, whipping gets good after like the first 20 days. It's like you're still getting whipped for like 20 days. That's not fun.
Yeah, right. So take that as you will, but it doesn't seem like those first few hours are any good. Oh, man, and then you see these animations. I'm like, damn, what the fuck is going on? And then of course, we talked about the ugly ass women in the game.
Techno Fabulous said it best, man. Like they're those characters are just being controlled by ventriloquists, man.
Oh shit!
That's why they look like that.
I saw a great post like with half of the screen of one of the characters talking and the other half of the screen of a goldfish in an aquarium, and the resemblance was shocking. Just the way that the mouth kind of bobs out open.
I got another one for you. This is my whole timeline all day, man. Like just shit like this. Man, it's bad, dude.
Look, I love. Oh my god! I've seen that episode of Doctor Who. That's crazy.
Yes, I have. Yeah. So, what was the name of that Doctor? So it's like they showed a picture of the writer girl, and then they showed that one like villain or something from Doctor Who, where it's just like a face, like a portrait or something.
Oh yeah, that's actually the first episode of like the reboot of Doctor Who.
I think it was. That's right. The one with Christopher Eccleston, right? Yeah. That's right.
Didn't he already quit?
I know this because I remember I told Tony like years ago. I'm like, yo, I started Doctor Who. I didn't like it. I just watched that episode.
Damn, son.
Yo, so I don't want to change topics so abruptly, but Vishal told me something about them like Sony marketing God of War 4 in Spain.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't know if you may as well talk about it. Add it to the show notes, Carlos. So what's going on with God of War? I like with God of War, I don't want to hear shit until it's official. So what's going on with this? Does anybody know? Again, I haven't been keeping up.
I just Googled it, and there's like posters like fucking. So there's this poster in Spain of fucking Kratos and his fucking son. It says, "Feliz Día del Padre." So it means happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
The fuck? Yeah,
That's
and it's
it.
like,
Yeah.
like this seems pretty interesting. Like
Conspiracy theory. The game's coming out this year.
Ooh,
No, can't we just say that? God of War 4 confirmed. There
Yeah,
it is.
you know what? Let's just say it. Just say it. Confirmed. Oh man. Actually, Carlos, don't add that to the show notes. Fuck that. I think we're kind of done here. So let's do a contest.
I'm not done with Mass Effect yet.
Oh,
What
you're
the hell's
done
wrong
with
with that game?
what happened, Brian?
What's wrong with Mass Effect?
You haven't
Like,
you haven't seen the memes,
no.
bro?
Oh, no. I have. I just want to know, like, what the hell is wrong with Mass
Okay,
Effect? Like,
yeah. What the hell is wrong with you? What's wrong with you,
Well,
Mass Effect?
It seems like
it's
it's
not
just
Mass Effect. It's a different game, and they just decided to slap the Mass Effect name
It's
on
Mass Effect in name only.
All I
bruh.
gotta say is my spider senses were tingling initially when I first saw that shit. A lot of that early shit gave me a weird feeling.
Yeah, man,
That
your
early
spider sense
shit,
was right.
like the
See,
shit that
Manny,
they
my
do.
spider sense finally started going off. You know, I was like, hold on a
Something's
second.
not right.
I know this feeling. I've had it before, and when I bought a game in with that feeling,
You
I was
ended up
very
with Lord of
disappointed.
Shadow. Oh,
I had that
Okay.
feeling with Mafia 3.
I didn't buy
I've
that.
never gone
fucking
back
game,
to
man.
that.
Thank you for taking that bullet, by the way.
yeah, but Adam, you had that feeling
Yeah.
about Horizon, so
Okay,
Well,
so
Horizon, I'm still avoiding that freaking dinosaur. I told you, even on my Game Boy, when I was going through some of my games, and I sent you that screenshot, I'm like, and I came across Jurassic Park. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, they made this shit. Pass.
Damn, son.
Pass.
Game of the year right there, bro.
Done.
So, Tony, you've been playing this, and I know that you're not really allowed to talk about more than the first few levels, but I'm very interested to know. Like, I'm kind of shocked that I haven't heard virtue signaling from this game. Does it sound?
Brett. I'm not. I got a copy, but I'm not that hardcore. I'm getting my shit on Monday.
Oh, okay. I'll be really interested to see once they release the reveals, because it's. They may have stayed away from some of the virtue signaling, but I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see how hard they push agendas in this game, and you're not going to see a lot of that stuff come out until mid game.
But then, Brett, like the animations though, like if they're this rough, like no, like if they're like this rough, like this early on, then like what does that say about like the quality of like later on?
Yeah,
Yo, that
because
should be like the
games
quote
have
right
a
there.
bad habit
Those
of, like-
animations, though.
No, like games have like a really bad habit of like having like a strong like first 2/3,
That's a
and then
fact.
the last third is just like falls to shit. So if this like what like the first third of Mass Effect is, then how bad could like the last third be? Like to me, that's scary.
Yeah, because the fact is, the end of a game is usually that's the part of the game that the developers don't put a lot of attention. They usually put the most attention to the beginning of the game. And if the beginning of the game looks like shit,
Well,
man,
yeah,
Well, no, the whole game is going to look like shit. I have no idea. Like, BioWare has not as they've always been a little weird. Like same with pretty much any Elder Scrolls game. Like people look weird, but this is a whole new kind of thing.
dude, they compare the character models of old school Shepard and the new Raiden guy, right? Like they compared them like 1-to-1. Raiden looked like a little shitty, like misproportioned kid, you know, and Shepard looked like a big dude, you know. I'm like, damn, what happened to the character models, man? You can't even get that shit right.
And you're gonna fix that now in one patch.
Yeah, fix the whole game. So is the patch is going to change the entire game then?
All right, let's see. All right, let's go back. Let's
Patch
think
is
of,
gonna be like
all right,
Mass
here. All
Wait,
right, wait. Let's just see from another point of view. What other game had some kind of shit like this happen and turn out to be a hit? And I'll just start it off. Doom. Remember, a lot of people said Doom didn't want to give the previews. Some of the early shit people saw looked kind of dull, looked kind of grainy, looked kind of boring, and it became a massive hit.
Yeah, but that Doom wasn't in anyone's hands. That was only hearsay and like screens and stuff. Nobody
Yeah, this
had
is
it.
like
and
the
went,
real
"Hey,"
deal.
Nobody
Yeah,
told me,
people
hey,
playing
get
this.
through the first few shitty hours of Doom and it gets good later. Nobody said that.
Yeah.
You know,
And
the
also-
Doom didn't look like crap, and
And
they said,
people-
wait for the day one patch, people. Doom will
Yeah,
look
they didn't
great
say that.
afterwards.
Yep.
Well, you had that. Remember, you had that issue with Horizon where you said it crashed a bunch, but once you got that patch, right?
No, it only
Tony when he
crashed,
was reviewing
it only crashed on me once on the, ironically enough, on the I forgot, it was like on the PlayStation 4. Oh yeah, this what happened. So I was running it on PlayStation
PS4
4
Pro.
Pro, right? And it crashed on me during the intro of the game, right? Aloy is a little baby. So I put it in regular PlayStation 4, played it up to the first part of the game, then went back to PS4 and I had the cloud save and all that. And then no more crashes at all. Very weird bug, you know, and nobody else had that problem. It was only like me that was having that. Very strange, you know.
I've heard other people have that problem.
I haven't heard that, but yeah, this Mass Effect thing, this isn't like some, you know, some rumors. People are playing it right now, EA Pass, and you see this shit, you know, very troubling, you know. Like I've been trying to avoid coverage of this game. I can't avoid that shit. My whole timeline's just filled with that shit. And they're not even doctored. That's like the actual game, you know.
A sensitive
question
step,
now-
it's in the force.
The instant question now is, how's it going to get reviewed? Because are reviewers going to pick up on this, or are they going to like just put it to the side as they did with Fallout 4?
Wait, Brian, are you asking? Is this game going to get a pass?
Hey, it is. It is Bioware. Like
I don't know.
It's big enough to get a pass, like Bethesda does.
I don't. Bethesda gets a pass for a different reason.
Poking at Brett today, just like, hey Brett, what's up, Brett? Just poking him slightly. It's the only reason why I'm mentioning Bethesda, because I know that it like gets on Brett's nerves. Like, hey,
Oh, it
Bethesda-
does. It does. Well, the thing is because
Yeah, but Brian, you realize
honestly-
you realize that Brett could care less, right?
I know what you did there, Tony. I know what you did there.
The reason I guess I
It
come
hurt to do
back
that.
for Bethesda is because I'll be honest, like yeah, a lot of their shit is janky. Like some of the stuff is broken, weird things happen, but that's the price you pay for the open world Bethesda experience. And there's a lot of games like that where you have trade-offs. Some things work well, some things don't. I don't know if this game. I haven't heard about what it's doing really right to make up for what it's not doing right yet, though. So I'm not sure if they'll get a pass, especially because the internet is already kind of fucking aflame about this. Anybody that posts an article that doesn't mention the weird fucking animations is clearly out of touch with their user base.
That's a great point. You know, it's going to be very interesting. Oh man! All right, let's get into it, man. Let's do this fucking contest shit, man.
Can
Get
I
that
say, like,
picture
just
ready,
one
man.
more thing,
Pictures?
Brian, man, always
No,
ruining the show.
I want
Go
to
ahead,
annoy the
man.
Bioware guys, man. 'Cause, yeah, I think it's fair to say that the master has now become the student has now become the master in terms of CD Projekt Red.
Oh,
Hey, Witcher 3 didn't have that. Be like Witcher 3 is like done in like a third of the budget. Looks much better. Better animations, better facial animations, better dialogue as well. Jesus Christ, the dialogue in
The
this game
Witcher
is
has sexier looking NPCs, man. How the fuck does your principal characters look like fucking dog shit? You know, and then The Witcher has MP3s that look better. You know,
Mm-hmm.
man.
You know what else The Witcher has? It has Gwent.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, I guess. All right, let's get into this, man. You got that picture ready?
Yeah, I'm getting up now.
All right, so basically, we're going to be giving away 3 copies of this Super Mario, the fucking How Nintendo Conquered America, right? I haven't read this book yet, but I'm assuming it's good. You know, it covers the history of Nintendo up until the Wii, so it's pretty extensive, even though it's a pretty small type of book, right? So we are going to be showing you, for the guys watching, a picture, right, of the NES game. For you guys listening, we're going to play a little sound clip and stuff right here. Right, you know, I just edited that in later. But also, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, we're going to ask you some questions too, just for fun. So here's the picture, right? Adam, ask your questions, man.
It's
yeah, go ahead.
an NES game. I'll give some hints. It's not an official Nintendo game. All right, remember how they had that gold seal? It does not have a gold seal.
Oh, it doesn't have the gold seal. Okay.
Does not have the gold seal. That'll be too easy. Because then someone could just type in, gold seals and then just, it has a very, very janky past. So, I mean, whoever gets it and they don't get it, whatever, I'm sure we're going to wind up talking about the past of this game because it's crazy. It's out there. And I'm trying to think of what else to say without giving it away. 2 answers could be correct.
Yeah, 2. You don't need to get both answers. You just
you don't need to get both. 2 answers for this title could be correct.
Yeah. All right. So if you want to enter the contest, hit me up personally, Tony at thecoalition.com. That's the coalition with a K.com. That's my email. Email me your answers. If you type in the chat, you're gonna get disqualified. Don't write it anywhere. Don't write it in the comment section. Don't write it anywhere. You send those shits directly to me. And if you want to DM me on Twitter, that's okay too. But send it to me directly. Don't start putting it out there like that. Don't ruin it for everybody. Hopefully we'll get a winner by Sunday, and then we'll announce it. Then we'll give another book away. We're gonna do it for each episode of Main Throwdown, not Throw On Your Questions. Throw On Your Questions is when we'll announce the winner. So again, here's the picture, right? Hopefully you can't screen cap this shit. And remember, send your answers to Tony at thecoalition.com. That's the coalition with a K.com. Good luck to everyone. And I think that's pretty much that. This was a really good fucking show. A lot of fun tonight. That's pretty much it. So let's wrap it up. So thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace.
Brett Murdock.
This next week is going to be interesting.
Adam Vale.
I wish I could say something about Lucha Underground, but I haven't heard shit.
Watch it on Netflix. Netflix.
When it comes, I just don't know when.
Oh, shit. I thought it was already there.
No, that's the whole problem. I would have been hyping it. It's not there yet.
Fuck. And Brian Munjoma.
I don't know about you guys, but my face is tired.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Later.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Deuces.